Based upon what you've seen, what you've read in the charging documents, what do you make of this case against the Osefos?
Well, it's an insurance fraud case, and insurance fraud is one of the easiest crimes to commit, at least on its face, but it's also easy to investigate. And in this case, I want to say that this couple is innocent until proven guilty. All we have are allegations, but when the government lays out the facts of their investigation to the case and what they've done, there are a lot of facts there that don't read well for the couple. It starts with suspicion from the police when they investigated the home, the forced entry, but nothing around the forced entry of the second floor bedroom or bathroom window. Nothing else was disturbed. Secondly, if they then will investigate whether the couple were in financial straits of some kind, right? And remember, the insurance, if you turn in claims for the insurance to be paid for lost items, the insurance carrier is going to investigate. So it seems like between the police and the insurance investigators, some of these items were returned to the store. They found some items in the house, if you will. And then they even have emails between the couple, according to the government, where they were trying to figure out how to max out on their insurance coverage of close to $500,000. What other items can we claim? Mm-hmm. They ultimately claimed up to $200,000, but good detective work and investigation work seems to have come up that this was all fraudulent. We'll have to see what the judge says and the jury says, or whether they're going to be able to cut a deal with the government, given the weight of evidence that at least has been publicly disclosed by the government.
I know we don't have a crystal ball here, but I'm curious to know, with the exchange of messages that you just mentioned, what could or would the defense look like for this couple in fighting against these charges?
Emails and texts have a voice of their own. They don't really, there's a context to them. And so, sure, if they were robbed or burglarized, and he's talking to his wife about, we need to make sure everything, it goes on the insurance forms so we can max out, that in and of itself isn't a problem, especially if you've been burglarized and you're trying to assess everything that you've lost. If someone burglarized your home, God forbid, could you really put from your memory bank everything that was taken? You could probably put in 75% of what was taken, but there'll be items that you missed. And maybe that email was just about that. There are explanations, if you will, but in the end, it'll be up to a jury. And more importantly, what's the government going to say? Because they're crossing their T's and dotting their I's to make sure that this is not a mistake on their part. We'll have to see. They have a high burden, and the due process rights for this couple will be ever present and available to them. And we'll have to see. We haven't heard from the defense, and the defense always has something to say about the government's case.
Finally, I've had a few viewers ask me about this, how this case compares or doesn't compare to that of the Chrisleys, Todd and Julie Chrisleys. Of course, they served 2 years after being pardoned by President Trump for tax evasion, wire, and bank fraud. In terms of sentencing, and I know we're not there yet, if it even happens, they have to have their day in court. What could a case like this look like if there's a conviction?
Well, remember, each of them have 8 counts, right? And each of those counts, I believe, I don't practice in Virginia, but I believe carry up to at least 2 years, maybe more, for each count. And if they're found guilty and sentenced, they could be sentenced consecutively for each of those convictions. So it could be multiple of years, arguably. But the reality is that if they feel that it's best to cut a deal and they plead to 1 count or 2 count, then, most states have sentencing guidelines. The judge can justify either upwardly departing or downwardly departing. And so a lot of discussion goes into if you plead guilty. Now, if you don't plead guilty and you're found guilty after trial, then the sentencing is going to be much longer. That's just how the criminal justice system works.